Welcome back to Dum Dum's 2099, where improvisers who've never roleplayed before journey into a futuristic world of Dungeons and Dragons. I am the Grand Wizard Bukake, your host. Having healed Declan's wounds and augmented their abilities, Declan and Honor System began their hunt for Geffcinda Bee-Zos. After a tense meeting with Carmine Falstaff where they allied with his corporate goons, they also teamed up with the Twists to stop AIMAZOON. Can they save the future before things get even worse? Find out next on Doms and Dragons 2099.
Well, it may not be overnight or 1 day or even 2 day delivery, but the primer hoods are coming, and Jeff Bezos' dream will be realized. The new future has a limited amount of time to figure out where Bezos is and move against him before he can impose a new future on the world that is not your new future, but a different new future, an AIMAZOON new future, full of cheerful smiles and a lack of bathroom breaks. So you've begun to put together your crew. You have formed an uneasy alliance with Carmine Falstaff and the Escrow, the Conglomerata remnant. Not so much because you're all friends, but because you have a mutual interest for the time being, but also threats of later violence on both sides. You've contacted the Twists, the assassins who used to patrol the streets of Nearfrost, and their leader, Sublime Not Succulent, along with her crew, have pledged their aid unabashedly with as much information as they can give you. You've decided to go in search of Lady Ethereum, one of 3 major MFT brokers within the city of Neo Baldur's Gate. After a robo-coin flip, aka random numbers generating yet another random number. Lady Ethereum is said to have taken over an old library in the western district of Neo Baldur's Gate. And apparently has a robotic fight club in something called the Pit, as well as doing MFT auctions in the upper floors. So you've decided to pay Lady Ethereum a visit and to try and figure out who is buying up all these MFTs. You're reasonably certain that Geffcinda Bee-Zos, got to get the pronunciations right for legal reasons, is behind this, but you need more information, and more importantly, you need a location. As you know, his island fortress has been cleared out, and his current whereabouts are unknown. What is your plan for Lady Ethereum's?
I mean, I think the first thing that comes to mind is we submit Honor System as a combatant in the underground robot fighting ring. That's our in.
Then we take the cash from the winnings when Honor System clobbers some other poor robot, and then we go become a client at the auction to try to buy an MFT, and then we kidnap Lady Ethereum. I feel like it's a step 1, 2, 3, easy, simple plan.
Very straightforward.
Excellent. So I was going to say, like, you don't really need to disguise Honor System because he looks nothing like a standard issue Ronin bot anymore. There's also plenty of Ronin bots around even after the fall of Typhus, so not a problem there. What is your ringside name?
Honor System. That's what Honor System would say.
Yeah, no, we're gonna have to come up with something other than that, buddy. Okay, why don't you just run through the random words in your head? I need a good, strong adjective.
Strong.
Great, that works for me. And what's your goal inside the ring? What do you want to do?
Win.
All right. I think we're going to go with Strong Winner. That's going to be his fighting name.
As you know from Alabaster Tuesday and other such names I've used on the show, I fucking love derby horse names. They're always so stupid.
Oh, yeah.
My friends, you've just delivered an A+ derby horse name. On the outside, we got Strong Winner. On the inside, we've got Daddy's Choice, followed, of course, by Sure Thing. They're
And
also
coming up
good.
fourth, unlikely misfire.
And in last place, God damn it, of course, what a terrible horse. All right.
Rhymes.
Jesus.
So strong winner is entering the tournament. Declan, you also can't really go as yourself. What's your guise?
Declan would work with the twists to put together a like head rig that looks like further bionics, and then he would actually attend shirtless. So he would be looking all sort of like juiced up, robo torsoed, with his guns, and then just a weird half head rig that looks like he's got a giant, like ultra damaged but rebuilt robo face.
Okay, I dig that. I'm thinking of some of the like lesser Star Wars bounty hunters, like not a Dengar, but like just, I don't know, here's a round helmet with a single robo eye in the middle. Sure, great. He can be a guy. Okay, I love that. Do you want to bring Bourbon Sherbet with you? He's not around all the time, but he is still like very much a resource you can tap. You didn't tap him for the investigation, so I'm going to take that off the board. But he can also like come with you as a companion, a date, or just like a weird robot who hangs out with you if you so desire.
See here, Tom, I'm torn because tactically it's a terrible idea, but I do love you playing Bourbon Sherbet.
Man, I'm not trying to push it on you. It's up to you.
I think he's not good at understanding context, so we'll keep him in the woods with his wizard friends because we might need them to help assault Bee-Zos. And if Sherbert dies here, that falls apart.
That is fair. Bourbon Sherbet, the lack of guile Rupert, completely understands. I will be in the woods with my wizard friends. When in doubt, acid splash. And he waves and leaves.
I never thought I'd get to say, go to the woods with your wizard friends to a robot, but you know what? This is what life's given me.
When life gives you Sherbet, make
Send it to the woods.
sentences. Honestly, we get more melted sherbet that way. Okay, amazing. So you're flying solo. The twists have rigged you up. What is your what's your the equivalent of your like Boosh name? Your fake robo fighting enthusiast name.
My name is Bryce Dallas Coward.
Bryce Dallas Coward betting big on strong winner. Might as well show him, be like, I'm Guy Fakington. I'm here to win on rigged match.
Dallas Coward.
Bryce Dallas Coward.
Fuck me.
Bryce Dallas Coward.
Jesus.
But people call me BDC.
All right.
I don't know why it's so funny to me.
None of us know why.
Nope.
Yeah, just change one letter. Okay.
Yeah, Laura's big on the Wordle jokes right now. It's just like, you changed one letter and it worked. All right, so Bryce Dallas Coward and strong winner. You arrive at the Neo Baldur's
I muted
Gate.
myself, but I'm still laughing so hard. Okay,
Laura, your mute isn't on. It's the only time I'm ever going to tell someone that.
I think she unmuted herself to tell us that.
Yep. You arrive at the Neo Baldur's Gate Central Library, which is just classic, like, graffitied nonsense outside. It's clearly been boarded up for some time. It's got a bit of that New York, like a smaller version of the New York Public Library situation going, where it's got like the big, like ionic columns out front, but they've all been, spray painted with thing, lacquered with various posters for like, the red light district, a bunch of other things. Declan, your heart is briefly gladdened by some like anti-conglomerata graffiti tags that are still there. It's always nice to remember that proper villains were on side, despite everything, that rage still burns the way it burns for you. You were told by the twist to keep an eye out for the after hours deposit slot, which you find in its It's got a lot of stickers and stuff that have been then put on it for various brands. There's an odd double circle with like a hammer in it that seems to have been recently stuck. It's really shiny. It's like holographic and seems like vaguely vulgar, but you're not really sure how. Like it could be a butt, but why would it be? But the slot itself is completely clear in the way that, like, you know, in mysteries they find like the bookshelf that opens because there's, you know, everything has dust on it but this one book. So you approach the slot and as you do so it flips open and you just see a couple of beady eyes staring out at you and a little voice says, "Hey, what's the password?"
The password is, I've got a robot here who's going to win a bunch of matches and make us both rich.
Oh, fight so like. Yes, good. Yes, robot fight. What robot name?
The robot's name is Strong Winner.
Strong winner. Oh, strong name, strong win. Oh, yes, fight so like. Okay, and who is with strong winner?
The name's Bryce Dallas Coward. People call me BDC.
Oh, BDC. Fight so like. Oh, good. Come in.
Yay!
And a little hand reaches out and just like hangs out there. Like the fingers are out. It almost looks like he expects you to kiss his hand.
I will reach out and take his hand and then just shake it left to right because there's not enough vertical room for a proper handshake.
Oh, BDC understand secret handshake. Good for BDC.
And then the hand slides back in and you hear like a heavy thunk and just like a standard grimy sort of metal plate, like the whole sidewalk is like weird metal plates, depresses slightly next to you.
I step on it.
Like your weight kind of settles, and then slowly begins to descend.
Should I be getting on that too there? Fartzo, was it?
Yes! And he like opens the little slot. He's like, yes, right elevator, otherwise walk.
All right,
walk, stupid, take elevator.
I jump on the elevator and in my head, I think I've met the most perfect man in the world.
Amazing. And as you descend, like another off almost conveyor belt, another slab comes over and locks off above you. And sure enough, you are descending kind of on one of those like classic like chain link fence. Like you basically see them in like a lot of like Hong Kong action movies. Like I'm thinking of like all the early Jackie Chan stuff. You see it in like Thai action films. Like I think Ong Bak had a bunch of these. Like it's just like a chain covered elevator,
the construction zone elevator, where it's like
but if you wrapped it in chains to make it more cage fightery. Otherwise it's got like those big yellow like construction site lights and everything else with their little fences. And below you can see that basically whatever the basement of this library was and the main floor of the library have been hollowed out to create like a massive fighting pit. And sure enough, it's like every Marvel movie / kung fu movie fighting pit you've ever seen, where there's like the big cage over top. There's just a smell of stale booze in the air. You can smell smoke. Again, lots of intoxicants in the air. Huge crowd watching the robots fight. And you see a massive, there's like a 4-pod of video screens that traditionally would have been showing replays. They're all currently black, obviously because power is a little bit hard to come by. And there's a massive sign that looks like a digital scoreboard that has a hand-painted banner now thrown over it, kind of draped, that reads, Rock'em Sock'em Robo Combat. The combat is with a K. And sure enough, that seems to be what is in progress. There are robots in the ring. Currently, it's like 2-wheeled robots. It's a classic battle bots kind of thing, where like one of them's a ramp for some reason. One of them has saws for arms. And they're currently bashing each other up. You can tell the crowd isn't that into this. This really does seem like a warm-up act or like a between fights fight. There's spare parts strewn throughout the arena, clearly that have been knocked off of robots. And there is a small dais kind of at the far end beneath the slung banner. It looks like an old opera box that has been like transposed here. It's clearly been like transported meticulously. It's the only well lit space in the entire room. It's highly ornate, and like lots of filigree, big heavy curtains, that sort of thing. Sitting in sort of the center of the booth, looking bored in a very distant but also imperious way, is kind of a Tilda Swinton looking motherfucker. And think like in her Jadis from Lion the Witch and the Wardrobe outfit. So like big spiky crown, not so much the snow cone outfit, but like just lots of jangly sort of crystalline things, long sweeping outfit, and just like, head kind of like resting on her hand in a vaguely bored manner, surrounded by retainers, and very clearly Lady Ethereum. Overseeing the sites, very Roman Emperor-esque. She's not giving the thumbs up, thumbs down, because she doesn't give that much of a shit. But every so often, you do see her scan the crowd, and you can tell that despite the fact that she's bored by the fight, she's very engaged in what's going on in her in the pit. You reach the bottom, and the kind of like chain doors slowly open. And you hear just rapid footfalls to your left, and you look, and there's like a metallic like service staircase running beside the elevator. And Farzo is just running as fast as he can, Muppet style, down the stairs. And he gets there and then pretends he's the guy who's there to greet you. And just says, hello, my name is Butzo. I'm Farzo's brother, here to meet you.
Oh, that's real nice. All right, so we're here to get my robot into these fights.
Yes. He looks like a strong winner, huh?
Well, you knew the name in one. You're almost as smart as your brother.
Oh, almost. Different people, definitely well staffed. Come, enter fights.
And he takes off marching proudly, and he's like shoving people out of the way, and they don't really get shoved out of the way so much as like he taps their leg, and out of frustration they kind of shift. But he feels great about it. So you follow him through the crowd to an empty desk. And he goes, okay. I will need to go find the booking agent. And then he kind of looks at you with a little grin and like a sense of expectation. And then he says, oh, look, stronger winner, over your shoulder. And without waiting to see if you look, he leaps over the desk, puts on a hat, and comes up and says, hello, I am Booker. Who is fighting?
Nice. It's nice to meet you, Booker. I don't have a lot of questions. I got strong winner here, my robot, and he'd like to kill all your other robots to make a bunch of money.
Sure thing, BDC. I mean, random stranger.
You guessed it right. BDC, you knew me.
Almost as smart as Butzo. Not quite.
And so he writes down your information. You can tell he's having a hell of a time because no one here really knows how to write with anything that isn't digital. So it's like a full like toddler with a pen thing where he's just like scrawling it with his fist. But he nods and he says, yes. So, strong winner, next fight. And BDC, you want to place bet? I can get betting, Goblin.
Yes, I'd like to bet all this money he has. And he just took out a loan from the Twists. So it's just like, throw some money on the table. We got to get this to be fucking big fast.
And he looks at it and he goes,
oh, that is a lot of money. I will go get betting. So it's just me. It's all me. I will place bet for you.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we're supportive of that. A lot of people wear a lot of hats. It's all good. Strong winner on his downtime. He helps look after my medical problems. It's a journey, We all do many things.
And like a tear rolls down his eye, and he says,
That makes me feel seen in all my multitudes. Okay, so, and he just like sweeps all the money off the table into like a sack with a money sign on it, but like it's future credits, so it's like a C with, I don't know, a squiggly line through it or some shit. Ties it off, and he says, bet placed on strong winner?
Yes, so I'm not betting against him. I'm betting on strong winner.
Because strong winner has strong odds of winning.
Honor System looks at Declan and says, like, I would die for you if it was to our benefit.
Yeah, it's not, to be clear. I need you to win. Do not die.
I see.
No, he's going to win and he's not going to fucking die. Declan is so bothered by the concept of honor system being willing to die in this fucking pointless arena for no reason.
And at this point, Fartzo's just drifting away. He knows when to get out of town. He hands you a betting slip and nods you. It is incomprehensible to you, but he seems to know what it means. He takes the other half of it and there's like a wall of nails facing out behind him, and he just like sticks it to a nail. And you can see there's tons of betting slips. And they seem to like slide these racks of nails over depending on who's fighting. They really don't know what to do without computers. They're having a really hard time. Everyone is just doing their best, but it's some bad reverse engineering going on here. It's what you got. So you got a few minutes to prepare before the fight. Anything you want to do?
Declan, is it important that I make this some sort of spectacle, or can I finish this quickly?
I mean, the odds seem to have been decided, so I would say just end this as quick and as clean as possible, like this first one. Because then, you know how this dance is played. Then if they like you and they want you to do an odd match with bigger odds, and they come over and they say, can you make him make a bit of a show? And I say, yes, but let me talk to him. We pretend it's drama. And then, at the end of the day, they do it. So just do it quick. It's good. Do you have how can you give me a signal if everything's just going wrong? Like if I need to shoot? It's a question I've got for you at the end of this. It's like, how do I take the shot because I've got this rifle, and he's like looks around to make sure nobody can fucking hear, but he's talking through a helmet. So I think it's also he's not used to internal comms inside a helmet. So if you're going to lose this fucking fight, what signal are you going to give me to let me know to start shooting this other fucking robot? Because I would kill everyone in this room and walk out of here with you and be quite happy.
Likely if I have been cut, torn, or shot in half, I will most likely need assistance.
But anything less than that, you're good?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, because once this starts, you can't exactly turn around and be like, help, start shooting. That gives them a bit too much warning.
Should I come up with a different signal besides being torn asunder?
Yeah, I think it needs to be a signal that you can make instead of a signal your opponent gives me that they're winning.
How about I will fight with Legion, and I hold up my sword. If I need to rely on the SMG stored in my forearm, then that is a sign that things are not going well.
All right, so if you start shooting, I'll keep an eye out, but probably start shooting as well.
Understood.
That makes sense to me. All right, I feel like we had a good plan. I've already bet all the money. I could have been more strategic about this, but I kind of fucked it up. So, you know what? The bet's been played. I think you just got to do the sword fight.
And I don't know if it's not clear or like intentionally or if I just missed it. Is it just one fight, or is it going to be a series of fights for Honor System?
You're only signed up for the one fight.
Okay.
It was not clear to either of you. It will not surprise you that Farzo / Butzo / Booker, not the clearest communicator when it comes to official rules.
Well, each persona was almost as smart as the last, so he just got dumber and dumber, apparently.
I mean, really, you had to ask the question at the door. That was the trick. Like,
yeah, Betzo was so stupid that Betzo couldn't even remember to play a new character.
That's right. That's right. Whereas, like, Farzo actually has a PhD in nuclear physics. So, like, you just got to pick your guy. It's unclear to you. You get the sense from kind of the violence of this, like, looking around, you get the sense that these people have a short attention span. You're not sure that this is really the kind of place where they're going to want you to go rounds and rounds and rounds. It's more kind of an all or nothing. Plus, both of you know from the information you got from the twist that the real main event here is the MFT auction. So There are people who are here just for that, who already have enough credits that they can just go to that. There are people who are trying to win enough credits to be able to afford to buy an MFT contract. And then there's people like you who are entering the match. So smart odds based on your initial plan are if Honor System wins, like just you needed Honor System being in the fight to get in the door. You've done that. Now you need enough credits to be able to justify going to the MFT auction, which requires the win. But beyond that, you're not entirely certain. But most of these fights seem to be kind of to the death things. So unless you guys just want to like make some bank for whatever reason, but here we are.
Okay.
You can tell from how antsy the crowd is, though, that like they're waiting for a main event, and also odds are the MFT auction will be soon. So
Okay.
a lot of the high rollers will be leaving.
All right. Well, then Honor System's going to leave it all out there in the ring. He's going to empty the tank.
Right. All right. So the two battle bots smash each other a bit more, and then finally, in an unprecedented twist, Ramp Bot drives under Sawbot and just knocks him slightly over, and Sawbot has no defense to get back up. Is just upside down. At which point, kind of like the bored Monty Python crowd cheers happen. Everyone's like, "Yay!" But there's not a lot of thrill to this. This is basically the Zamboni between periods in hockey, which admittedly can be fun, but these bots were not. So they bump the immediately, like a couple goblins jump kind of into the ring and start like clearing everything out, and Lady Ethereum does like the little dainty hand clap, very royally, and finally the announcer steps forward, and I know this is going to come as a shock to you all, but it's a familiar looking goblin who is now wearing a pinstripe tail suit and a little cane and has a top hat, and he jumps up on a stool and he grabs the mic. And he says, "Oh, great fight so far! I am MCC, and I am here to announce next fight. Now, you have seen Bad Loser. Now, we shall see Strong Winner." And he points to you, Honor System.
I make my way down to the pit.
Great. And he says, "And Strong Winner needs strong opponent. Thus, he fight Blackhawk." And a massive hulking, like 1980s, like children's toy Dark Knight robot comes stomping out of the wings. Honor System.
Fuck me! I thought he was going to get the ramp one.
Honor System. Well, actually, probably Declan, because you're scared of robots. Declan, you know the Black Hawk series was discontinued a long time ago, largely because they were so goddamn expensive to make that everyone just kind of gave up on them. They're not particularly, like, by modern standards, they're very clunky, but they're almost impenetrable. Like, this thing literally looks like a Black Knight out of, like a children's book of just like full plate. It's got a wrist-mounted assault weapon that seems to have been added later. As well as a very like Transformers the movie like glowing mace that seems to be possibly made of nanites. Like its arm seems to be feeding this thing as it glows. So interesting choice. You didn't think these things really existed anymore. They occasionally showed up on the battlefield between the corporations, mostly as like a distraction, honestly, because they're big and chunky and could just kind of like storm across the field. But generally speaking, the Black Hawk unit is not great news, but also not the worst news. Honor System, I don't know if you would know these bots, because in terms of your entire army was all samurai droids, and then the Ronin unit is just an upgraded version. So I don't know if you would have encountered these things, but
Looks it doesn't matter.
Would Declan know any weaknesses he could radio to Honor System through his helmet?
The biggest weakness is just its mobility. These things, like, they're almost siege weapons, right? Like, they just stomp forward slowly. They look impressive. They're honestly one of the biggest advantages they have is on not human, because we're in Faerun, but on organic enemies, because they look so intimidating and so impenetrable that they're a shock tactic for sure, but they're also slow and lumbering. So in terms of what you could radio to Honor System, like, you have the advantage on mobility for sure. It's heavily armored, but it's slow.
All right, System. He's big. He's scary. He's mean as fuck, but he can't move worth a shit. So you're going to have to play the mobility game and take him apart because he's going to be fucking brutal otherwise.
Thank you, Declan. Should I just radio you if I need help instead of creating a signal?
I mean, that would, yeah, let's go with that. Then you're free to shoot him all you please because he fucking brought a gun, so you should be able to use one.
Understood.
Amazing. And you see Lady Ethereum actually sit forward on steepled fingers. She actually seems legitimately interested in this fight. So with that, MCC, the extra C is SIE, similar to his other names. He's really not good at the naming convention piece. Rings a classic like ringside bell, and the fight begins. Go ahead and roll initiative there on our system.
Yep. That's pretty good. That's a 23 for initiative.
23 for initiative. Okay. And I've got... Oh, man, these enemy sheets are hard to read. I'm sorry, Tyler, what did you get?
23.
23. Okay, yeah, that beats mine. So you are up first, which makes sense with how slow this robot is. Okay. So it begins doing that, like, honestly, in modern terms, like someone wearing the Megazord costume walk, where it's like they can't really walk too fancily. So just a slow robot walk towards you. What do you do?
Yeah, I think as it begins, Honor System like widens his stance, turns profile to this guy, and has like a hand on his sword. And the ogre face flashes on his faceplate, and he says, "Activating Oni mode," and he just runs forward with his sword out. So I'm going to start with 2 attacks. 16 and 9, so plus 10 each. So a 19 and a 26 to hit.
Yeah, both will hit.
Okay. So that is 8 and 3, 11 plus 7. So 18 on the first hit. Thank you. And 8 and 5. God, these are pretty good. That's 13, 8 and 5, plus 11, 24 on the second hit.
Damn.
Nice.
And now for his bonus action, he will attack again. So that's a 29 to hit.
Oh, yeah.
8 plus 7, 15 damage.
Okay.
And I'm going to use Action Surge to attack again. And so that's the extra attack kicks in as well, I think. So I get to roll 2 attacks.
Okay.
25 and a 13.
25 will hit, 13 will not.
Okay. Oh, that's a d20 I'm rolling again. I don't need that. And that is 9 plus 11 for
20.
20.
Nice.
20. All right.
And Legion ignores damage resistance.
Yes, I was just about to mark that, and then I was like, right. So yeah, just sound hits. This thing is heavily armored. Legion isn't singing through it the way you'd expect.
Mm-hmm.
But you can almost think of it more as like every time you hit, your sword cleaves into the armor. You have to then pull it out. But it's definitely penetrating it more than I think we expected. And you actually see this thing kind of stagger back slightly. Its face is molded in, again, like a children, like almost like a Masters of the Universe, or in more, I guess, contemporary terms, like Evil Emperor Zurg from Toy Story. Like it's that kind of like frowny face, like,
right.
Giant red eyes, like has horns built into it. So you can't express surprise, but maybe. And the crowd is going nuts. Okay. Like they're having a great time. They're mostly like, you can tell there's some of that bloodlust anticipation for what it's going to do to you. But they like the show you've been putting on so far. The fact that you're like nimbly deking around and slashing and like have a cool ogre Oni mask thing going on, like very crowd pleasing after Rampbot versus Double Saw.
Right.
Which brings us to Black Hawk. So staggering back for a moment, it kind of like leans back slightly and then lurches forward. And for a slow moving thing, when its arm moves,
it's a blur, largely because the nanites are reforming as it goes. So it's very hard to tell where the actual shape is coming. You kind of track the mace, then the mace explodes and is like a number of different things before finally coming together as it comes down to you. So here it takes 3 big swipes with that. What's your AC, sir?
19.
19. All right. So that's 1 hit, 1 miss, and 2 misses. Yikes. That's not great for the robot. I mean, it's good for one robot. It's not good for my robot. It is very good for your robot. All right. So that is 14, 18, 22 points of damage as it just like smashes into you. You go limp as it hits, maybe even getting your sword up. The nanites just sort of splash around that and then grow hard. So you feel kind of a strong vibration throughout your body as this thing strikes you. That said, it doesn't seem like there's a whole hell of a lot else it can do. So it just kind of like does that, cranks back, and then kind of raises its other arm up in front of itself in a defensive pose, bringing us to your turn rather.
All right. So it's doing like a defensive thing. I'm pretty straightforward too, actually, in what I do. Like I'm just going to continue to hit it with my sword.
I mean, look, if it works, it works. Why mess with a classic?
Yeah. What's our arena like? Is it anything fancy, or is it basically just like an open arena for just scrapping?
It's a big octagon. There are 4 pieces of cover. There's like an airplane wing, the front half of a car, of a burnt out seahorse car. There is a just literally like a pile of barrels, like in fucking laser tag.
Right.
And there's a half buried head of a statue that has sort of distinctly almost a we'll say like cobalt features. So that's kind of buried in the sand. Otherwise, there's bits and pieces of other robots all around you. It's a sand floor, and then the chain link fence reaches to the ceiling, and it's got a lot of reinforcement, metallic reinforcement to ensure that when massive robotic bodies are thrown against it, it doesn't like just destroy all of the fans.
Right. Okay.
Declan, sorry, before you go, Tyler,
Yep.
Declan, is there anything you would be doing after this first round?
Declan would be watching. I think he'd be kind of pumped because he'd feel like Honor System's fucking winning, which is dope because I don't, you're never sure when it's like the edge's mobility. That's not always the biggest edge to be able to play.
Yeah.
The other thing that he would be doing is watching Lady Ethereum and her people, because if this goes bad, they're the other threat in the room, and it's going to require a lot of reaction. So I don't know what he's seeing them doing.
So she is now standing, kind of like grasping the railing, looking over, vaguely like Cersei when she's concerned during any of the last few seasons of Game of Thrones when she does nothing but drink and stand at a railing looking concerned. So leaning forward and you're not sure, but you're a man with a pet robot. This might be her pet robot. You're not entirely certain, but something this big, this expensive, and this old definitely seems to be like something you'd like to throw in an arena. And honestly, this would probably beat the shit out of most non-samurai or Ronin class robots. And those would not ever, well, I mean, they might, but it's very rare that those would show up in an arena. And if they did, they would likely be like the secondhand sell-off ones that were like too damaged in battle. So what are we going to do? Well, we'll sell them to the arena. So this again, like the Black Hawk unit seems like an easy winner, and it is not easily winning right now. Also, it's been retrofitted. Like these things don't come with modern assault weapons and nanotech. Right. So you're guessing it's like I bought an expensive toy and then I added more expensive toys to it.
Right.
Yeah. Declan would be splitting his focus then, just alternating between the match and her, because he knows he'd cheat to keep his robot alive. So he's fully expecting her to possibly do the same. And worst case scenario, he drops a lady who's selling mages. He's okay with that. And in the overall exchange of things, it's not the smartest move, but it's not the dumbest.
Selling mage contracts. Granted, the mages don't have much say in it and are getting a bum deal. But I want to be clear that ending the threat of the stack did some good. But
Yeah,
now
yeah.
they're just in predatory young
listen,
pop star.
She's a
contracts.
bad lady. It doesn't mean it.
That's
all
also
bad.
true.
There are lovely mages in the woods. They're doing great. These are the non-woods mages. I
Yes.
want to send them to freedom in the countryside.
100%. Yeah. Great.
Live above or below the ground, depending on the choices they make.
All right. So in that case, Ryan, can you roll me a perception to kind of see how well you're reading, how well Declan is reading what Lady Ethereum is doing and feeling?
That is a 16.
So one of the problems you have, Declan, with trying to read fancy folk is a lot of fancy folk expressions look vaguely like constipation to you, and you're never really sure whether are they smug, are they upset, are they horny? Like it could be any of the above. You're not really sure because it's just that like pinched lip, sort of like small mouthed, kind of glowering look that could mean any number of things. So you're not sure yet, but she's definitely paying close attention.
All right, then he will just keep observing.
Cool. Back to the ring. Honor system / strong winner.
Yes. After taking one blow out of the 3 attempts to kind of swing on him, honor system sort of like maintains composure, and seeing that this guy brings up his arm defensively, he basically wants to maneuver in a way that actually creates a blind spot by this Blackhawk's own arm. Mm-hmm. So the way these next attacks are going to look is honor system goes in low, but then tries to strike high, up and under the arm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Go ahead and roll.
2 swings here with extra attack, 27 and 21.
Yep.
8 and 6 is 14 plus 7, 21 on the first hit. 6 and 1, 7 and 7 is 14 damage on the second hit, and we'll do the bonus attack, bonus action attack, 15 to hit.
Sadly, 15 will not do.
Okay. So he saw the opening, and then by the time he tried to strike a third time, Blackhawk was like adapting and closing the gap.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So Blackhawk moves in, and this time with the kind of one arm up blocking, it actually just slides the assault weapon in under that arm, and just starts like it's going to use one of its special attacks to just start opening fire as it walks. So your AC is, I'm sorry, forgive me. What's your AC?
19.
19. Okay. So that is 1 hit, 2 hits, 3 of the 4 will hit, and they will do 15, 22.
For ballistics resistance, Tom, is that subtracted from each shot or from a total?
From each shot. Each shot's going to be dealing damage separately. So if you have ballistic resistance, now is the time to use it for sure.
I don't believe I do.
Okay, fair enough. Sorry, 1 sec. Okay, so that is first shot is doing 22 points of damage, second shot is doing 12, third shot is doing 24.
Okay.
So it just kind of pumps a bunch of rounds into you. And then I need a dexterity save, please. As you're being staggered by the shots, the blocking arm, once it gets close enough, basically just explodes into nanite spikes, aiming squarely for you.
12 is the dex save.
12. Okay, that's actually enough to take half damage from this. He's not dexterous, so it really is like jumping out of the way of a pincushion. So you'll only take half. So that is, it would have been 15. So we'll call it 7.
Okay.
But there is like steam venting off of this thing as it does this. Like you can tell it is A, badly damaged. Steam should not be coming out of a robot. B, this was clearly like its big old like 1 a day finisher.
Yep.
It is smoking. Declan, you see Lady Ethereum looking anxious, looking agitated, in a way that makes you deeply uncomfortable. And we cut to a place far away, Borovia, Castle Strahd, Castle Ravenloft, where Not Pete and Hawaiian Strahd are enjoying like what sounds like an amazing karaoke night several floors up. And Alan, you're hearing echoes of this as you enter Mordenkainen's chambers that he set up. He still spends a lot of his time in his tower. This is obviously before you traveled through the portal in the epilogue several episodes ago. But this is, one of many times Mordenkainen has just kind of left available to you, almost like office hours, open office hours. You don't often take advantage of this, but sometimes if the mood strikes, you do. The particular issue you've been muddling over is the same one we touched on in our epilogue. You were attempting to figure out how to open the Raven Gates without any assistance from Mordenkainen.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that you don't appreciate Mordenkainen and his presence, but
like he's supposed to be teaching me, like
100%. And the whole
what am I
point
doing here?
Of gaining wizardly power and knowledge is to be able to do these things yourself. And one of the things that's troubling you is you're learning a lot academically, but when you try and apply it, you're finding you don't have the juice. Like you don't have enough power to be able to pull all these things off. You're gaining deep understandings, but it's a little bit of the like Bart Simpson showing up in the dojo being like, when do we get to play with like nunchucks? And you're like, oh no, we're going to learn stances first and then we're going to meditate. It's like, yeah, cool. I get that. But there's got to be more because you were on the road for so long. You saw so much. You went to 2099. You fought like an undead whale. You had a wizard fight against a Plantier mage. Like you've done a bunch of shit. And then it's almost like, yes, you're learning advanced level stuff, but he's also teaching you fundamentals in a way that bores you deeply. So the question on your mind is, without asking directly, how to get more power. Because this is something that... And also Borovia, as we've established, exists, like Castle Ravenloft exists at kind of a cross-section of universes and a little bit out of space and time. And as a result, like power here is also weird. There are times when you feel more powerful than you've ever been. There are times when you feel like you first felt when you arrived in 2099. How does Alan feel about not quite being able to tap into these powers?
Very frustrating. Like, because, I've got like a powerful fireball. I can, dimension door pretty far. I can fucking send messages like hundreds of, miles away. And like, I can shoot like lightning from my fingers. Why can't I do this?
Right. So you find Mordenkainen looking at a deck of cards that seem to have pictures and numbers and some lettering on them. And he's just kind of marveling at these. And one of them seems to have his picture on it, which he seems genuinely charmed by.
Is it my blue doggy wizard Magic the Gathering deck?
Look, I don't know what you're talking about. He's looking at cards and he's a wizard, so presumably they are magical cards of some sort. But that's
and the other half of the story is in an arena.
Yes,
it is. I know, it's amazing.
Look, he just happens to be a wizard of the coast. What do you want? So he shuffles them back in.
I'm gonna summon some dogs and sacrifice Mordenkainen. That's what you do.
I mean, good luck with that in this world. He shuffles the cards and with kind of a grin, just like flicks them into just through a gap in reality into the kind of the holding spaces that wizards have in different dimensions. And with a bemused smile, he turns and he says, "Oh, Alan, welcome. You have that look on your face. That I have a deep question that I'm rather pissed off look about. Yes."
Yeah. You're
all right.
really getting to know my expressions. It's fantastic. I don't have to go through the whole thing anymore. Wow. How can I put this delicately?
God.
I want to open a gate. I can't open a gate. Like, okay, no, I'm not going to try this delicately at all. I can Why can't I open a goddamn gate?
Yes.
Sorry, God's damn.
Thank you. Yes, that is most appropriate. Although you can't always say the singular. Sometimes they get mad about that, I found. Alan, the Raven Gates are old. And when I say old, I genuinely mean
Oh my
old.
God. And I'm pretty sure she's heard this like so many times.
Yeah, sort of, but also
kind of like the beginning of it.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Okay,
and, like he always qualifies everything with like he's an old ass wizard. He's got to throw down with like old ass.
Yeah.
There are wizards and powers older than even me who build such things, and the Raven Gates in particular, the ability to safely open rifts between dimensions in the way that they do is quite remarkable. It requires a tremendous amount of power, more power than you can simply pull from. Your fireball, you can just summon as easily as anything. This isn't like that. You have to tap into the very tapestry of magics of the weave, all of the deep, deep, deep magics that underlie our world and other worlds. You are, after all, trying to bridge between other worlds. Now, you have some experience, as do I, with other worlds, do you not?
Yes, I've been to another one.
And what magical energies did you feel there?
Well, I mean, it was different. I couldn't really do much at first. And then kind of slowly over a matter of, I don't know, weeks, months, I was able to access more.
Now, was this a matter of you having difficulty drawing on the magical energies of the place, or was there something wrong with the place? I've also been to some places where like magic was dead.
I mean, there just really wasn't any magic to speak of. It kind of felt like I was having to like, I don't know, generate it from scratch. Does that make sense?
It does. Exhausting work. Yeah. To do. Now tell me, and he like pulls, reaches like through space and time and pulls out a little scroll. And it's very small. Like it is this is probably only a reference for the three of us, but like like the poop bags, like those green poop bags on a roll. It's like the size of the roll at the bottom. And he just unscrolls it slightly, and he looks down it and he goes, would this be the 2099
yes
parallel?
Yes.
So I see they were lacking gods for a time, but then magic kind of has begun to come back into that.
And I like smile, like, yes, it has.
I take it from your smile you did that.
I helped, yeah.
Well, that's pretty damn cool. And like, game recognized game. Mordenkainen knows when cool shits happen. And he says, Alan, when you try and open these gates, it helps to be able to draw energy from the places you're opening the gate to. Not only does it strengthen the gate, but it means that you don't have to generate all that energy yourself. You can draw from the reserves of all of these different places. The weave doesn't run out of magic, but if we're purely drawing from one space, sometimes it can be hard to get all that we need. So, look, without the gates, and obviously we have a lot of training to do, and I certainly do not advise this anytime soon because there's a lot we must do.
Just so I'm understanding, so is this kind of like what Xanthus did to me? How he was like drawing energy, kind of like on my magic.
Yes,
to get over.
The difference being that Xanthus is more, and pardon the phrase given our current environs, but vampiric. A parasite. He was drawing from you rather than attempting to understand the weave of this dimension. So yes, in a manner of speaking, but rather than trying to understand how magic works in our realm and drawing from that in a way that would damage neither our realm nor his, he drew directly from you at the cost of you and your magic.
Okay, I just want to make sure I'm not going to be like siphoning off magic from the mages who I helped free from being perpetually siphoned from.
He smiles broadly and he says, Alan, there are few days in our time together that I have been prouder to have you at my side and working together with me. That is a wonderful, wonderful attitude for a wizard to have. No, what I'm talking about is enjoying the sunlight of their realm as though you were there, breathing the air, not a finite resource. but something renewable and constant that you can draw from if you understand it. You won't be stealing from the other mages, far from it. You'll just be tapping into the weave there to give you more juice, as it were, than just tapping the weave here. Think about it this way. You're currently pulling from one source. You could pull from 2 sources, 3 sources, 100 sources, as I often do, and as a result not need to generate as much power yourself. Think of it less as stealing from anywhere. It's not even borrowing from anywhere. It's instead basking in the power that exists in those places. The catch is, you almost have to train your brain to understand a new language, a new way of breathing. It's like, I don't know if you've ever cast gills on yourself, but it's a little bit like learning to breathe underwater with those. It's an odd feeling, but the closer you can get to those powers, the better. And it sounds like you already have a connection to this 2099 parallel. Now, again, I feel it is too early to go there yet, but should the opportunity present. And then he leans forward, and every so often you see the glint in his eye that has clearly led to so many of his misadventures. Mm-hmm. Because as austere and well-traveled and generally reasonable a wizard as Mordenkainen is, he's still got that same hunger you do. And he just leans forward with that little glint and says, think of how powerful you could become.
One question. I can open a portal by drawing from the weave of just 2099 verse. Correct?
In theory, yes.
What if I drew on power from all of the different worlds?
And his grin grows wider, and he says, exactly.
This episode of Dum-Dums and Dragons 2099 features the voices of Ryan LaPlante at the Ryan LaPlante on Twitter, Tyler Hewitt at Tyler_Hewitt on Twitter, Laura Hamstra at EL Hamstring on Twitter, and our DM Tom McGee at McGeeTD on Twitter. This episode's sound was edited and mixed by Laura Hamstra. The system we're playing is Carbon 2185, and Dum-Dums and Dragons artwork is by Del Borovic, who can be found at delborovic.com. Our theme songs are Core Collapse and Sanctuary of the Sky Gods by Nathaniel Yaverne, and our ad music is No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, JAHZZAR, all available at freemusicarchive.org. When it comes to Dum-Dums and Dice, you can visit our website at dumdumdice.com. Our Twitter and Instagram are at dumdumdice, and on Facebook at facebook.com/dumdumdice. But most importantly, we've got merchandise at redbubble.com/people/dumdumdice, or you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/dumdumdice. That's DUMBDICE. Now I'm off to do future things before we return for the next episode of Dum-Dums and Dragons 2099. Dum-Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time. The Half-Blind Prophet, Christopher Little, Sue One, George Dolby, Richard Cranium, Sammy Boy, Orion Birchfield, Scott Garland, Benjamin V, Gavin and Abby McDonald, Logan, Fire Unfriendly, Acrix, Grandma Likes D&D, Alan, Austin Nut Powers Fry, Stabby Stranger, Glitch Trick, Roman Brown, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.